The Crisis of Undervaluation, Challenges Facing Architects in Malaysia by Azlan Adnan. Architects are the unsung custodians of our built environment. From designing iconic skylines to humble homes, their work shapes how we live, work, and relate to our communities. Yet in Malaysia, the architectural profession faces a growing crisis, a deep and chronic underappreciation, nowhere more evident than in the shockingly low fees that practitioners are expected to accept. The fee structure for architects in Malaysia is governed by the Architects Scale of Minimum Fees Rules 2010, under the Architects Act 1967. These legally prescribed fees are, in principle, meant to prevent a race to the bottom. However, in practice, they are often ignored, undermined, or circumvented. Government agencies, developers, and even private clients routinely negotiate or demand fees well below the statutory scale. Some public tenders explicitly offer professional fees at less than half the legal minimum, in direct contravention of the law. Many architects, fearful of losing work in a saturated and cutthroat market, reluctantly comply. This persistent erosion of fees has consequences that ripple far beyond the profession itself. When design professionals are systematically undervalued, the quality of our built environment suffers. Corners get cut. Talented young architects leave the profession or never enter it in the first place. Innovation stagnates, and public safety, sustainability, and urban cohesion all take a hit. To put Malaysia's situation in context, consider international comparisons. In Singapore, architects earn a percentage-based fee ranging between 6% and 10% of construction cost, depending on complexity. The United Kingdom, under the Royal Institute of British Architects, RIBA, offers flexible guidance, with fees for full service typically in the range of 8% to 12%. In Australia, the Architect's Fee Guide recommends around 9% to 11% for standard full-service commissions. Meanwhile, in the United States, the American Institute of Architects, AIA, suggests a typical fee of 8% to 15%, depending on scope, type, and project size. In Malaysia, the statutory minimum is 10% for full architectural services. Yet in practice, many architects accept as little as 4%, and sometimes even less. This is not just unsustainable. It is an insult to the expertise and responsibility that architects bear. One might argue that market forces should dictate professional fees. But architecture is not a simple commodity. Good design demands rigor, accountability, and creativity. An architect is not merely a service provider, but a registered professional entrusted with public safety, compliance with myriad laws, and the realization of client visions within budget and time. Like doctors and lawyers, architects are subject to licensing, continuous professional development, and legal liability. Yet, unlike those other professions, architects are somehow expected to operate at cut-rate fees with little public understanding of the value they deliver. Another often overlooked issue is the dismal fee enforcement environment. While the Board of Architects Malaysia does have the power to discipline architects who undercut fees, in reality, enforcement is weak or selective. It is easier for LAM to penalize the architect accepting a low fee than the developer offering it. Meanwhile, many foreign design firms operate in Malaysia without local registration or collaboration, further distorting the fee landscape. The implications are serious. Architecture students graduate with significant debt, only to enter a market that barely rewards their training and sacrifice. Many senior architects struggle to attract or retain talent. Firms are forced to reduce staff, avoid innovative but time-consuming ideas, or skip key stages of the design process altogether just to stay afloat. This is not merely an industry issue. It is a societal one. When architects are pushed to the margins, cities suffer. We get cookie-cutter housing, poor urban planning, lifeless public spaces, and infrastructure that lacks dignity and identity. The long-term cost to the nation far outweighs the short-term savings in professional fees. So what can be done? First, there must be political will to enforce existing legislation. Government agencies, particularly at the federal and state levels, must lead by example by upholding the prescribed fees in their own tenders. Professional bodies like LAM and PAM, Pertubuhan Akitek Malaysia, must be empowered and expected to act decisively against undercutting, not merely issue moral reminders. Second, we must educate the public and clients about the true value of architecture. This includes developers, corporate clients, and homeowners. A well-designed building is an investment, not a cost. Good architecture improves worker productivity, enhances real estate value, conserves energy, and elevates civic pride. Third, we must look to our regional neighbors and global counterparts not just with envy, but with resolve to reform. The architectural profession must unite to demand fair fees, defend ethical practice, and restore public trust in its importance. Fee guidelines must be modernized to account for inflation, project complexity, and technological advancements like BIM. Above all, they must be enforced. Architecture matters, and so do architects. If Malaysia hopes to build cities that are sustainable, livable, and resilient, it must start by valuing those who design them. A profession that shapes the future of our cities deserves not exploitation, but respect. A heartfelt light. To every soul whose hand did give, you've helped me dream, helped me live. In darkest hours your light came through, with hearts so kind, so pure, so true. Your gifts, like stars in deepest night, have steered me gently toward the light. Each coin, each word, each silent prayer, a thread of hope so rich, so rare. My eyes once dimmed now seek the skies, and slowly clearer visions rise. Because of you, I dare to see the world again, its grace, its plea. Your compassion's flame will not just stay with me alone. It lights the way for others wandering through despair to feel the warmth of selfless care. You've shown what love in action means, in quiet ways through giving scenes. You've built a bridge from soul to soul and made the broken feel more whole. So let this thanks rise like a song, a melody both soft and strong. May your example gently call more hearts to rise to give. To fall into the joy of lifting pain, of planting hope where none remains. Your kindness walks beside me still, a light, a love, a living will.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to show your support.